Thank you so much, Professor. So when I start talking about Make in India to augment the opportunities in green hydrogen, I think the first aspect that I would want to bring in is Make in India. In 2014, when the Make in India initiative was started, that was when manufacturing's contribution to our GDP was around 16%, and our target was to take it up to 25%. Come 2020, we introduced another aspect, another campaign called Atmanirbhar Bharat. That means self-reliant India. This came from a lot of learnings that India has been able to generate as a country post the pandemic. And the idea was to make India a global manufacturing destination and become an integral part of the global supply chain. Now, there's a study which has been done by Deloitte, which says that 80% of the contributors to the GDP of India by 2050 will, of course, include areas such as services, manufacturing, retail, tourism, construction, transportation. And all of these together will lead to significant amount of climate-related losses. As a country, as you know, we have a target of reaching 5 trillion, but more so, and what is more important, that if you flip the coin and then look at the other side of this growth, India is focused on sustainability and resilience building and a growth which is supported and funded by green energy. As a country, when we are progressing towards decarbonization and towards moving towards this sustainable growth, we've been exploring all new areas to achieve the goals of COP22, of course, and reduce carbon emissions and increase the non-fossil mix in the fuels within the country. In fact, India is one of the only countries in G20 which is on track to meet its climate change mitigation commitments of 2 degrees Celsius under the 2015 Paris Agreement. Now, when we talk about this decarbonization commitment that India has been able to bring about for itself and the ambitious target that we have of 450 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030, India actually is in the middle of the largest renewable energy expansion, wherein from 2015 to 2022, our renewable energy has actually gone up by 80%. Very recently, we crossed a milestone of 100 gigawatts of renewable energy. Now, to take it forward, there are new initiatives and new incentives that are being given out by the government of India to make sure that there is more renewable energy, more solar, and more wind that gets manufactured in India and more power that gets generated within the country. We, of course, know about the PLI scheme. We know about the ALMM list, the identified lists for both solar and wind manufacturers. There's an imposition of the basic custom duty, and all of this together is going to work into getting more renewable energy in the country. As Professor Dasappa was very rightly saying right now, the Honorable Prime Minister has laid down a vision for India to be energy independent by 2047. For this, we cannot rely only on wind, solar, and other sources of renewable energy. One key area which is going to play a very, very vital role is going to be green hydrogen. As per a report that was done by CEEW, it is estimated that India's hydrogen demand will be 1 million ton by 2030, which is going to need an investment of over $44 billion. We, of course, know of the National Hydrogen Mission that was announced on the Independence Day, after which there has been a lot of key interest and a lot of influx of information that is coming in on green hydrogen in the country. In fact, there is a new perception that has already been built within the government, and the government is working on implementation of a mandatory purchase obligation, similar to what we saw for renewable energy, to make sure that there is usage of hydrogen in certain sectors, and we will expect guidelines to come out on this. Now, when we talk about green hydrogen, and of course, we have a lot of experts with us today talking about the technology and the requirements, but essentially there are two main things that are needed for supply of green hydrogen production, which is energy from green sources and electrolyzers. Now, we've already spoken about the fact that India has been able to reach a 100 gigawatt milestone in the generation of renewable energy in India. But what is more interesting is that India has a vast potential of over 1,000 gigawatts of renewable energy across all sectors. India, in fact, is moving at such a fast pace at renewable energy deployment in the country that there is a business prospect that we might be able to generate business of over $20 billion per year for renewable energy. IEA and World Bank, in fact, did a report which says that India's efficient and cost-friendly renewable energy sources will bring down across the country already. In fact, there is a production-linked incentive of over $2.5 billion, which is focused on batteries and battery storage. Now, with this adoption of renewable energy, with the focus on electric vehicles, with the kind of work that is happening in the country on batteries, we already have skilled workforce. We already have a very ambient manufacturing culture. We already have ease of procurement of raw material, which all together can come in and make India for the manufacturing of electrolyzers. This manufacturing of electrolyzers that can potentially happen in the country, considering we already have this learning from battery and we already have that supply chain, along with the falling tariffs of renewable energy in a country like India, can certainly help in reducing the price gap between green and gray hydrogen. In fact, what is very interesting, and I think this is one of the biggest skills that India has as a country, is that there is a lot of R&D that is already happening within pioneer institutes such as DRDO, BARC, all looking at economical hydrogen production technologies in the country. I think one area which is very, very interesting here is the learnings that we can get from other sources of renewable energy. And the two sources, of course, that are very prevalent are both solar and wind. When we started solar power generation, even actually more than 90% of our components for solar were coming in from China. In the case of wind, as a matter of fact, more than 90% of the required equipment was being manufactured within the country. And we have seen the kind of difficulties that we faced with solar, be it the quality of the component that we were getting in, or be it the fact that insurance for these equipments was also happening from the country of the manufacturer, which meant in case of default or defects, it was very, very difficult to get compensation for such products. And these learnings, especially along with the fact that wind that way have been very easy and smooth going sector, considering the significant amount of manufacturing, tells us that manufacturing of electrolyzers is going to be a key area for a country like India. We've seen that 17 large electrolyzer production plants are actually being looked at all across the world already. In countries like US, UK, Canada, Australia are really stepping on the gun to be able to start manufacturing these very, very soon. Now, when we talk about hydrogen and when we talk about green hydrogen in particular, then of course the supply side that we are talking about, but what is very important for investors who are looking at it is to understand the kind of demand that India will have, which will influence their decision to be able to come and start investing in India, to do partnerships in India, and to start building technologies for India. It is anticipated that the demand for green hydrogen in India is going to go up from the current level of 6 MT to 28 MT by 2050. In addition, India has come up with certain very interesting solutions, which when put together will make usage of hydrogen very interesting, something similar to blending of hydrogen with CNG. In fact, I know we will listen to this, but IOCL along with Delhi has already started implementation of 50 buses and deployment of 50 buses in Delhi, which is going to see a blend of hydrogen and CNG with over 70% of it being hydrogen. Apart from that, there are a lot of institutes and organizations which are working on fuel cell technologies. There is a lot of parallel work happening on R&D and pilot projects which are going to look at commercialization of fuel technologies for mobility, which again is going to take in a lot of green hydrogen. Again, IEA did a report which says that India will have 30% of total vehicles by 2050 being fuel cell vehicles, which talks about the kind of requirements that India will have for green hydrogen in the future and the kind of impetus that India will put on this. I think the seriousness of the country is very evident from the fact that we are putting in mandatory procurement of green hydrogen in certain sectors in the future. India has also had seen a few firsts in green hydrogen already. We already spoke about the buses which are being commissioned, the pilot plant that has been commissioned. In addition, IOCL is building India's first green hydrogen power plant in Mathura refinery. NTPC has set up India's first hydrogen fueling station in Leh. We know about India's first electrolyzer manufacturing plant, which has already been set up in Bangalore, and the fact that India is also developing fuel cell-based three-wheelers, which are all going to be powered from hydrogen. When we talk about the roadmap, and I will pass it on to Professor Dassappa after this, but when we talk about the roadmap for green hydrogen in a country like India, on the short term, we certainly see a usage of green hydrogen for mobility, for